that we're in this COVID-19 era, if you are making a 911 call and fire services is the first to respond on scene, what are some of the practices that have now been implemented by fire services to respond to the pandemic?
Sure, and that's an excellent question, especially with small children that are in the house. Seeing, although generally the lights and sirens are great fun, but in the times of stress and emergency, this may be tough, and especially depending on how the incident has come in. Maybe there has been a kitchen fire. A lot of time the firefighter will show up and they'll have their masks on. Kind of scary, right? And again, it's not an everyday occurrence. So for the caregiver, to answer your question succinctly, the caregiver, because they've done all this pre-planning, they've done all this, there's some confidence there. It's a matter of, and if it's not a fire, if somebody's fallen down or a medical emergency, being at the front door, or have somebody in the home be at the front door to accept whether it's fire, paramedics might get there first, whoever arrives first, and directing them to where they might go. Things like, they don't have to, but things like, if there's some obstacles between the front door or the point of entry and getting to the patient, it's helpful to clear that. If the client has medications, having those medications on hand is great to transfer that information and to start the process of addressing the emergency that the client is having.
So as a caregiver in the COVID-19 era, when you call emergency services, do you yourself have to prepare for, I guess, the personnel to come on site? Like, if you have the wherewithal, do you have to go get gloves and a mask and all kinds of things to prepare for them to come into the home?
No. Quite simply, the answer is no. I mean, that's the first response, the emergency services, that's their job. And in this time of COVID or any other pandemic or medical emergency, we've had several SARS, H1N1. So they may show up with masks on. Depending on, again, how the call comes in, we use the example of a fire call, they would have their air masks on and all that stuff, because they don't know what they're going to encounter, right? But the caregiver expecting that, and the protocols for most, if not all, fire departments now, I can speak articulately on this, is to show up with, we call it PPE, or personal protective equipment. So that may be an N95 mask and goggles, depending, body isolation, body fluid isolation suits, depending on what the call is. But no, the caregiver does not need to worry about preparing the scene for them. I talked about a little bit of, any challenges or hurdles to get to the patient from the front door would be helpful. But, being able to articulately and calmly tell the first responders what happened, how you found them, what you did, if there's any medication, that is so immensely helpful. Now, the first responders, because that's part of the protocol and the training, especially with paramedics, they'll do their own assessment, and so will fire. But, it is more of a confirmation, right? So it's a double check.
If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to take our quick survey to give us your feedback. Find the link in the video description below.